Hello, Franz here, Clay Manufacturing. It's been a while. This is where we left off. This video is going to be how to model the soft jaws so that we can finish our speed wrench. I've got another video that shows us just how to model counterbore blanks. So this one's going to be how to set up the model with cut soft jaws so we can insert our part into the jaws. And I'm going to have a known location on these jaws, and then soon we'll get to the point where we'll end up with a finished part. You see I got my little logo on here. Let's get up and personal in my little face. Yeah, I got a logo going on here. And then this is the back side. This is the top side. This is where I left off on my instructions. So this would have been the cam to finish machining this. This is the hat. We got to figure out how to clamp this since this goes down at an angle. It's not just a parallel part. Let's go back to the screen. Now, my internet's been going out on and off. I have created, I have prints. So this is my print for the part. This is a Wasabi Soft Jaws. This is for the cavity. You can go to claymanufacturing.com. No one wants to give me any money to buy anything, so just click on Make It, and then you will go down to Wasabi, and this document, this PDF, will be in this PDF drawings. Oopsies. So I'll be referring to this soft jaw. I already have a mistake in it. I should have updated it. I don't have the length in here at 6 inches. That'll be updated by the time you see this. Now, this is our cam video. This is where we left off. Let's show you where we're going. This is the soft jaw that we're going to create in this video, and I've already done the toolpaths to machine it. I have proof I machine it. I'm not claiming to be an expert here. I am claiming that with my feeds and speeds and my models and my tooling that you'll successfully be able to make soft jaws for your standard 6-inch Kurt vise for my project. And then let's scooch back a little bit. So we've got to make these jaws so we can finally get to this area where we're going to machine our hat off and just complete the back side of this. So this is our part. It's in there upside down. That green represents the stock. And after we do our soft jaws, cut our soft jaws out, that cavity, then we can do all these operations to remove the material on the back. Now, one big part of these soft jaws that we're going to do is after we cut them, we will utilize this bore as our known location, our work coordinate system. And this part is based off a known dimension from this bore, which is going to be our 000 point. So if you've got a probe, if you've got a Heimer, if you've got a wobbler, you'll locate your X in here, your Y in here. And what I did was oopsies. Oh yeah, that's just a stock. What I did was I put this depth the same as this, so it's negative 250 thou. And this will be your Z0. In manufacturing, it's really common to have your Z0 as a bottom reference because it's really easy to get repeatable, pretty accurate within a thou by just cutting down. Because when you buy, if you had your Z at the top and we just put in nominal numbers like 1 inch, the stock doesn't come at exactly 1/2. It's usually oversized a little bit. It could be 7 thou oversized. It could be 20 thou oversized. So if your Z is on the top surface and you're not accounting for that difference in height, so say you're running 10, 20, 30 parts, that means you'd have to update your thickness for every part you machine. So it's a lot easier just to have my Z reference at the bottom and machine down to it. That's what I'm intending to do. So that's why we have this random hole here. That is where my work coordinate system will be located. We'll touch off in there, X, Y, and then for Z, what I'll do in Z, oopsie, we want that, you can either probe that surface with a Heimer or your probe on your Renshaw probe, or you just do your manual tool touch-offs in here, and that is your 0 point right there. And I think that's it. So these are what we're modeling this guy. Let's get to it. This is where we left off. I'm going to save a new video, a new version. Let's go File. Let's say Save As. This will be Wasabi Soft Jaw Speed Wrench. Let's just say Soft Jaw. Oopsie. Let's go Jaw CAD video. And I'm just saving it for me. To keep my document. So let's say save, and then Well, we're in manufacturing. I need to go to design. So I'm going to go manufacture, design. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to make sure that this arm doesn't move because I'm going to use joints after we create this jaw. I'm going to use joints inside Fusion to join it to the bottom of that jaw to give us a good representation of what's going on. And if I don't ground this or keep it fixed some way, it's going to move, and then all my toolpaths associated with op 1 will all freak out. So to prevent that, I'm just going to right click and say ground. And that way I can't move it. And if I want to unground it later to move it around, I can just go unground. But this prevents my part moving, which in turn prevents all my prior toolpaths from freaking out. Second thing I'm going to do is create a new component. So we're going to have our soft jaws as their own separate component. So I'm going to right click, say new component, and this will be soft jaws, enter. And I want to make sure that little dot is active by it. Now, I know I've machined this top side. It's got the threads in it, so I've machined this. What I'm going to do is, let's do this one, is I'm going to create a sketch plane based off of this surface I already did. So I'm going to create a sketch plane, extrude jaws the opposite way, then I'm going to joint this into the jaws after I project a sketch and everything. So one more time, I'm going to create a sketch on this outermost surface that's done. I'm going to sketch out my jaws. I'm going to extrude them away from the part, and then I'll inset this into it. Hope that makes sense. If not, we'll kind of maybe make more sense while we're modeling. So right now, I'm on the top. This is my top right here. My component is active. So I'm simply going to right click on this top surface and say create sketch. And I'm going to sketch two rectangles, and I'll show you what I'm doing. I messed up. This is 6 inches long. The width is 1 inch and the height is 2 inches. And so what I'll do is I'll just go create, and I'll go a rectangle, and we're just going to plop in 2 rectangles. Don't care really. Let's just plop in 2 rectangles. And I'm going to hit D for dimension. So my cut length for my jaws will be 6 inch. So I'll say 6. And I know my width of this thing will be 1 inch. So I'll just say 1, enter. Now I have this guy fixed. So if I'm going to make all my dimensions driven off of this guy. So if later, if I update my jaw size or width or thickness, whatever you want to call it, I can come in here, update one, and I'll update the other. So I'll just drag off down here. I click off while it's still blue. I'll click this 6 inch dimension. And then you see down here it pops up with a D41, and then I'll hit enter. I'm going to do the same for here. So I just click once, drag, click again, click on my 1 inch one time, and now it says D42, and I'll hit enter. So now these are driven off of those. Beautiful. Now I'm going to constrain these vertically. I want this to be in alignment with this one. So I'm going to come up here to, I think, collinear. I'm going to click on collinear. I'm going to click on this first guy, and then I'll click on here, I think, there, and now these are collinear. I'm going to hit escape really quick. So now if I drag, I want to drag you. So if I drag them, and they're blue, so they'll be collinear. I can spread them, move them side to side, but they stay collinear. Now let's look at my print and see some important dimensions. What I have on here is the center point of this circle on my part. And what I'm doing is I'm going to make it active, and I'm going to, I think, dimension the end of my soft jaw to the center point of this part. And another notable dimension is I have a 0.125 inch gap in between the jaws, and this is the center line. So from the center line to the edge of my jaw is 0.0625. It's 0.125 divided by 2. So keep that in mind. And so when you machine it, I'll actually clamp a short parallel in there to keep that gap, and I'll machine it. So that's why I do a 0.125 gap. Okay, so 1.05. Let's do this. So that dimension is from this circle to this edge. What I'm going to do first is I'll set the distance from this edge to our center point, because I just said what it was, so it's fresh in my little brain. I'm going to go dimension, I'll click on that edge and I'll click on the midpoint. I'll drag it. I'm just going to go 0.125 and I'll divide it by 2 so I don't have to do any math, and I'll say enter. And there it's 0.0625. That's what I wanted. I'll do the same for this lower one. I'll click on my midpoint of the part, my origin, click on that edge, drag it. Let's do that. I'll just click on this one, dimension driven, boom. So now that's 1/8 of an inch apart. I'm going to hit escape to get rid of my dimension tool. So now I need to set the side to side distance. This center of this circle is a known distance from this edge. And I'm going to be referring to that edge, I believe. Yeah, wrong one. We want to look at U. So the center point is 1.065. So let's do that. Let's go here. And I'm going to go D for dimension on my keyboard, or go up there and click it. And this is already highlighted. And I'm going to click the outside of this circle. And I'm going to say, I think it was 1.05. Enter. I'm just going to double check my print. It was 1.05. Okay. Love it. Let's get rid of you. I think that's it. I think we're going to call it a day. Well, we're going to call it a day here. We're going to do some extruding. So if we look, to go over it again, this threaded side, this is a top, it's been machined. I created these rectangles. I'm going to extrude them out. Then I'm going to project a sketch on here, cut a cavity, then join my part into that cavity. So right now, let's just do finish sketch. Let's go extrude, and I want to click all these surfaces so this whole side's blue. Whoopsies. So that's blue, and now I'm going to make it basically the height of my jaw, so 2 inches, height of my extrusion. So there's 2, and I'm just doing distance, one side, that's it. And so this should be the back side of our part. And I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to hit save, so when my internet goes out, which I actually think it's my router that's acting up. So I saved where I'm at. Now I want to create sketches on this surface. And I still need to tell it how, because this circle is going to be my new X and Y 0. So I need to specify how far this circle is from the center point of this circle so it knows where it's at in space. So I can edge find this, create my program off of that. And it's 700 by 0.750 from the center line. So let's do that. I'm going to, you see my soft jaw still selected. If you can't select on this surface, that means you've been messing around with too many sketches. So just hide these sketches down here just so you don't have problems, because I'm going to create a new one. So watch, another sketch will pop up. Right click, create sketch, boom, this is my other sketch. And I'm just going to plop this circle on here, and I'm going to give it a diameter though. So I'm going to hit D for dimension, or like this. And this is 0.5, enter. And then let's just review my sheet one more time. So yeah, they're 500 diameter, and it's 700 from the center point of this circle, and it's 750 from the center line right here. Let's try to duplicate that. So this is my midpoint right here. I'm going to the center of my part. I'm going to click here, which grabs the center, and that was 0.75, enter. And now I'm going to grab the circle again. Let's see. Maybe I should project my sketch. You see how it's being a little finicky? While we're still in sketch mode, I hit escape. So we needed to do this anyways. And I'll show you, when problems arise, we're just going to roll with them. I might be able to try to hit dimension again, hit escape, dimension, like click on that, then do dimension. You see it's working, but let's not do that. This is still active because we created the sketch here. So let's go create. We're going to go project, come over here and make sure bodies is on, and it's already been selected. So you see I have the profile of my part. I'm just going to say OK. So now that purple line is our projected sketch on that jaw. And I'm going to get rid of this ghost body of my wrench because I don't need it right now. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to hide that body. Now let's go back to dimensioning this at our 700 value away from the center point. So I'm going to hit D for dimension, or come up here, So I'll go click, and that is 0.7, enter. So that's 700 away from this center point. Let's look at here. So it's 700 away from the center point, and it's 750 up in the Y. 750, we're looking good. So now from here, you could go finish sketch. You could also go extrude. I want to extrude cut these inner surfaces and that. They're going to all go the same depth. So I'm going to say negative 0.25 and make sure it's a cut. And I'll say okay. And let's look at my print. Where is that found? Usually you're not supposed to dimension off of hidden lines, but since I'm not getting paid here, we're going to dimension off my, not a center line, I think I said hidden line. Hidden line, maybe if I made a section view, that'd be a little bit more acceptable. But it's going to work for our purposes. We're just trying to make some parts and have some fun. So it's all these are on the same level. They're 250 down. And the last thing to note is the radius. When you make soft jaws, if you leave these sharp edges and tighten the vise, it's more than likely going to mar your part up there. And also, if you're experienced or whatever, you notice I just projected the exact geometry of the part down. Since I have pretty simple sidewall geometry, the only thing I'm going to do is put a radius on these sharp edges. But sometimes if you have real sharp angles in there, you need to enable wear when you post-process, and then you need to walk your tool out on the control, do a little wear, maybe take a thou off or so. I'll usually, when I make soft jaws, if it's more complex, I'll project it, I'll cut it, I'll test fit my part, and if it doesn't go in there, if it doesn't go in there well, or if it's a different style fixture, I'll just walk, I'll do radial wear, like half thou or a thou at a time, and slowly open it up on there. For this, it's going to work. Now back to my print, because I didn't show you what I was even looking for. Gosh darn it. Did it delete? I was having internet issues, so it might have deleted. I know these radii, the radius right here for all four of those, I know I updated it, but it's not showing. It's 0.1, it's 4 at 0.1, so again, I'll have that on there. But these radius are 0.1. So I'm going to go here to fillet, and I'm just going to click on this guy, oopsies, right here, zoom on out of here, zoom on in. I'm going to click on there, and I said the radius is 0.1, and make sure you got those dialed in, and we're going to say okay. We're not done yet. We got to join our speed arm to this, because let's hit save so I don't lose anything. Oh man, where is this video? Data and folder has been up. Oh, that's why it's not. Sorry, I wasn't seeing it. I was like, what the heck? Did my internet cut out? All right, we got to join our speed wrench to this, because if I turn him on, or if we make this whole thing active, he's just floating there. So our Z would be incorrect, especially if you use preceding stock. So really, I'm going to create a joint between two, let's say, surfaces using diameters. I'm going to come up here, and I'm selecting joint. Left mouse click, and it wants me to select my first one. So I'm going to go ahead. You see how this one's real visible and this one's like ghosted? That's because it wants me to select the other component. So I'm going to hide my speed arm fully, and I want to do a center point of this circle because that's my known location. So if my points are moving away from me, I'll hold down control, and then I'll kind of walk on over to it. So I'm going to click on there, and now this is ghosted. It wants me to select my other one. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hide my soft jaw. I'm going to make my speed arm visible, and I'm going to just kind of roll this one over. And then same deal. I want the center point of this circle, but sometimes when you mouse over to it, it goes away. So when I have it where it's like this weird white looking, I'll hold control, and then I'll walk my mouse on over to that center point. It doesn't disappear on me, and then I'll left mouse click once, and I can let off control now. And I'm going to make my soft jaw visible, zoom out so we can see what's going on, and I'm just going to go ahead and say okay. So now you want to check that it's seated properly. I can tell it's seated properly if if I zoom on in here underneath, I have this really defined line. If you saw a gap or it was like just blurred together where you didn't see a defined line, that means they're kind of merged into each other, so incorrect. So do that, check it out on both ends. Another way to also do a quick little check is I can do inspect. It's section analysis right here. Section analysis, I'll click just on this face or whatever face you want, and I can just drag this puppy in here. And so I can look at different like levels kind of and make sure I can make sure that they're not going too deep and they're not walking into each other. Now this little gap there is just dependent on our part geometry. So you see it, how it's just the shape of it is causing that. And so you can just kind of cruise along there at different parts of it and just look that you're not getting any weird merging. This is probably where that radius, let's see. Oh, it's just being a little weird right now, my graphics and everything. So this is looking good. Hope this video was helpful. And then this is cool. I won't end it totally yet. So you could say, okay, and now you're like, ah, dang, I have this weird cut. This analysis, I can just hide it. And if I needed to go back, dimension it, or check dimensions, or I could how do I do it? I click down, I right click, I say edit, and then I can move this to different areas, say okay. If I don't want to see it, I can just hide it. And hope that helps. So my next video is going to be how to create the tool paths on the back of this thing. I'm going to try to do it soon, and by soon I mean maybe the next couple of weeks. Got a lot of stuff going on in life, but this is fun. I like machining. I think the more knowledge that is out there, the more that we can everyone can advance. So hope this is helpful. Have a good one. Bye.